Hey gang, this episode of WTF is sponsored by Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com and type in WTF when you click the radio microphone to start a no-risk trial and get a $110 bonus offer. That's Stamps.com. Enter WTF. Do it up.
Lock the gate!
Are we doing this? Really? Wait for it. Are we doing this? Wait for it. Ow! What the fuck?
WTF.
And it's also, what the fuck? What's wrong with me? It's time for WTF. What the fuck?
With Marc Maron.
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers? What the fuck buddies? What the fucking ears? What the fucking Indianians? I don't even know what that means. Indiana? Hey, what's going on? It's me, Marc Maron. Thanks for being here. This is WTF. This is my podcast. I imagine most of you know that. We have a great show today. Cera is on the show today from the Scott Pilgrim movie and from Arrested Development and from the Juno movie. Nice kid, that Cera. Good kid. Like that kid. Couple of things I want to do before we get going, before we get into that interview, is thank the lovely people of Bloomington, Indiana for coming out to the Comedy Attic Friday and Saturday. I had great shows. What a great small club. It's great to play an independently owned comedy club that has some personality. There's nothing better than a small comedy club, an independently owned comedy club. And Jared runs a great place up there. It's one of the best comedy clubs in the country. And speaking of that, I'm going to be at the Ice House in Pasadena, also an independently owned comedy club that's not affiliated with a chain or over-franchised. I mean, the difference between being at a club that's got some history or being at a club that's got some love in it, as opposed to being at one of these corporate outlet comedy clubs, is infinite. The show quality is so much better. I'm going to be at the Ice House in Pasadena on the 29th. That's on Thursday with Eddie Pepitone and Maria Bamford, and it's going to be fucking great. It's an 8 o'clock show. I'd love you guys to come out if you're in the LA area. If you've never been to the Ice House, it's a great club. It's a hot room. It's always been a hot room. Haven't played there in a long time. Looking forward to it. Live WTF at the Tiffany Theater, formerly the Steve Allen Theater, Tuesday the 27th. It's going to be a good show. Got Brent Weinbach, Rory Scovel, Retta, Ron Funches from Portland. Got Eddie and Jim, of course, at the end. I don't know if there's tickets available for that. You can go to WTFpod.com and go to the calendar and get the link. You can get the link for all of that. What else do I got to tell you? Well, Indiana was pretty awesome. Every time I go up there, I always freak out a little bit because I think it's, where is it exactly? Where am I is what I think. And I had that gig booked for weeks. I mean, months. I was going to play at the Comedy Attic. And of course, the few days before I get there, people are like, well, Friday's fucked. No one's going to come to your show on Friday. There was a basketball game. It's a big, important basketball game. You have to understand, in Indiana, in Bloomington, basketball is the primary theater of belief, rivaling only Jesus in its importance. And there was a big showdown between the Hoosiers and the Kentucky, what are they, the Wildcats? I honestly don't care. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way. I just really don't. I don't know what's going on with it. But it was insanely important to the people of Indiana. And of course, it was during my second show on Friday. But I mean, the degree to which they prepared this town, they took down lampposts. I mean, I imagine, and that was primarily for if there was a celebration. Not with people being angry. They were concerned that if people were excited, there might be a risk of some of the fans falling out of the sky from lampposts. See, to me, I would think that the big threat of a riot would be when a team loses. But no, it's when they win. It's a celebratory destruction of property. Yay! Let's burn this town down. Unbelievable. So it turns out they lose. And the streets were literally quiet. It was also raining, but nonetheless, I think people just went into their homes or into the bars and drank quietly in their defeat. There was no turning of cars over. There was none of that. And in that way, I think that my presence there was necessary. I think I was the right comic for the job on Saturday with the grieving state of Indiana drooping towards the Comedy Attic, looking for some sort of salve, some sort of spiritual relief from the defeat of their beloved Hoosiers. And who better than to do that than the heathen Jew, that is me, and we had great shows. But then I get there, I fly in, I get up at 3 a.m. to fly the day of the show. I get there, I got to take a nap. Weather's not great. I'm a little freaked out that no one's going to come to the second show, and I crash out. Okay, so I'm sleeping there. This is a well-needed. I needed this fucking nap, people. So I'm just crashed out, and all of a sudden there's like a banging on the door, like, and I'm like, what? Like, guest services. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need anything. Guest services. I'm like, what the? And I get up and I'm like, what? And through the door, the person says, there's a funnel cloud spotted in the area. We're suggesting that guests take shelter. If you don't want to leave your room, you can stay in the bathroom. That's the safest place. And I'm thinking, why are they being polite? What is a funnel cloud? I mean, if it's a tornado, say it's a tornado. I mean, I'm thinking I can sleep through a funnel cloud. That sounds kind of cute, actually. A funnel cloud. That's not a problem. All right. Thanks for your help. I go back to sleep. I tried until it started hailing, pinball-sized hailstones. So I'm looking forward to this gig for months. I get up there. There's the most important game of the year. There are tornadoes, and it starts hailing. So, of course, I said, why is this happening to me? Why? What have I done to yield this? But you know what? The shows turned out great. It was beautiful because it was people that didn't care about basketball. It was good. Then the next day in Bloomington, I went to college towns are pretty cool. I'd forgotten what it was like to be at a coffee shop in a college town, like an indigenous coffee shop, like a coffee shop that's been there for years. And as you know, college towns always have a pretty healthy cast of freaks that kind of linger around the college, and they just sort of age with the school itself. It's not clear whether they went there. It's not clear whether they think they're professors. It's not clear whether they think they're students, but some of them are in their 50s or 60s if the coffee shop's been around long enough or the college has been there a long time. And just sitting in there, it was just, it reminded me of when I grew up in Albuquerque, just that the weirdos that would hang around the school because that's where they felt important. And I really had these moments where I was sitting there thinking, like, how many days do you have to hang out at a coffee shop before you become like, oh, that guy's here. Yeah, you know the one, the guy with the thing, whatever that thing is. But it was, I got some writing done, sat there, didn't feel like I was in college, which is rare. I actually felt like an old man. I felt like one of those freaks lingering around the campus, kind of vampiring off the energy of the excited students, doing the big work at a small table. I always have this fantasy that's where I would have ended up, in academia. I always had a fantasy that I would be a professor of bullshit. I have no idea what I would structure my class around. What would the syllabus be like? Let's talk about me 101. A survey course in Marc Maron. And then I just kind of, every day, I just kind of do what I do on the podcast and talk about myself, then maybe quiz the students on me at the end of the semester. I could only fail people if they didn't care about me. The music in today's show is provided by our friend Fen Eichner. He has given us music before. These latest tracks are from his band Seashell Radio. They're on tour throughout March and April, so check them out at seashellradio.com for tour dates and more songs. Okay, let's go into the Stamps.com mailbag. This is an interesting one. I am getting plenty of handwritten letters, and I appreciate you sending them. Dear Mark, I hope you and Jessica are well. I've been meaning to write a couple of thoughts for a while now, so I thought, why not now? First, I like listening to your show. Thanks for all the effort you put into it and for helping people share their stories. It has been interesting and fascinating to learn more about the world of comedy. It's not unlike Mama Birbiglia's sage comment, quote, "You comedians are all so serious," unquote. You might like to know also a few of my demographics. Age 30, happily married, female, fairly conservative, Christian, educated, just in case you're interested in statistics. I found out about your show from This American Life. Second, the main purpose of my writing this, Mark, I genuinely grieve for the state of your soul and pray that you will find salvation in Christ as the Messiah of the world. Well, okay. I know you are conflicted about spiritual truths and death, and I just challenge you to read the Gospel of John and the letter to the Hebrews and to expect to encounter Yahweh. I know you mentioned in the past that Jewish school was largely unintelligible, but I hope the rabbis at least made it clear that God listens to his people when they cry to him. He is compassionate and merciful. I appreciate you acknowledging that original God. The reason this is on my mind so distinctly is because of Lent and the remembrance of our, in parentheses, humankind's brokenness and mortality. Please don't see this as judgment, but as concern. I know you, but I also know that you have thoughts about some of these things without coming to conclusions yet. So I'm just saying time is short. There's nothing more important. Quote, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart, unquote, Jeremiah 29:13. And lastly, Jim Elliot's famous words, he is no fool who loses what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose, unquote. Anyway, heavy stuff, I'll say. But maybe you can use a change from the usual japes, dreams, and masturbation stories from the mailbag, right? Blessings to you and Jessica. Sincerely, Laura from Texas. P.S. Glad you enjoyed Oklahoma, my home state. I certainly appreciate this, and I do also appreciate humankind's brokenness and mortality. A matter of fact, I think about it constantly, and I'm forever processing it. And certainly pray for me. But more importantly, maybe you should get Stamps.com. Look, if you're running a small business, it's important to look professional to your clients, customers, partners. You don't want to have a wad of regular stamps all over your mail sent out. You don't want to be leasing a postage meter in this day and age. It's too expensive. Take my advice. Use Stamps.com instead. Come on, you guys. With Stamps.com, you can buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. Print professional-looking postage directly onto envelopes, labels, even plain paper, people. Plus, Stamps.com will give you a digital scale, so you can get exact postage for any letter or package the instant you need it. I use it. I recommend it. Okay? This is what I'm doing to fill my God-shaped hole, is I'm using Stamps.com. Stamps.com is a special offer just for my listeners. Use my promo code WTF for a no-risk trial that includes a $110 bonus offer with a digital scale and $55 of free postage. Okay? So don't wait, you guys. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in WTF. At Stamps.com, enter WTF. Do you play guitar? Or?
Yeah, I do play guitar and a little piano too.
Did you grow up playing piano?
No, I started playing piano when I was about 17 or 18.
That's too late, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really play. I mean, I have no chance of really becoming I mean, it's amazing when people can just, it's like breathing air, you know.
Was that a dream though for you? Just to
It is now, but now that it's too late, it's a dream.
I mean, you have to fucking practice.
I really don't think you can start late in life and have that kind of grasp on it that people who start it too.
But wouldn't that be a miracle if you were a wonderkind at 30?
It'd be amazing.
Out of nowhere, you're not a child wonder, you're a 30-year-old wonder.
That'd be all the more impressive, I think.
To find a gift like that. He's a wizard. I wish we'd known when he was younger, where we could have made some money off of him. And you play guitar, too?
Yeah, that I've played a little longer. My dad played when I was growing up, so we had one in the house, and I just started when I was maybe 13 or something.
What kind of guitar was it? Because my dad
just an acoustic, Yamaha acoustic.
Right, with the nylon strings or with the steel
no,
strings?
he always just has just the regular nickel wound strings on it. Yeah.
And what were the tunes that Dad laid out?
He's pretty good. My dad's got, I think he's got a pretty good musical taste to impart.
Oh, really?
He always played a lot of Wings in the house.
Oh, that's good.
He had the best of Wings, so
he played like Hell on Wheels and.
Yeah, it was more like Uncle Albert and like Hi Hi Hi.
Oh yeah.
On heavy rotation, just over and over.
Well, Uncle Albert, that's fairly complicated.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear a guitar version done by your father of Uncle
Yeah,
Albert.
oh, that would be nice, yeah.
Did he do that one?
I don't know if he knows how to play that one. I know how to play it, though.
You do?
Yeah.
There's like several different textures.
It's like 4 songs in one.
It's a small symphony.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't recognize the voice, Michael Cera is here in my garage.
So we're starting.
We started.
With the sanding.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't care.
Great, okay.
That's a
I like
wind
how you-
blower.
Wow, great.
That's a wind blower. That's not a sander. That's a different sound altogether. I can live with a wind blower because you kind of know it's going to go. Sometimes we have dogs going on. Sometimes there are helicopters. You know, that's
LA, man.
It's the beautiful DIY vibe of the podcast.
Right. I don't even want to know what that stands for. I'm just going to figure it out myself.
You don't know?
No, I do. I'm just...
It means dick in your... No.
Dick in your.
Yeah, that's what it means, yeah.
Dick in yours.
Yeah, that's right. That's the vibe I'm looking for. So, all right, so the piano thing, how's the left hand go? Are you right-handed?
Yeah, I am right-handed.
That's my big problem, though, is that left hand. Is getting the hands...
that took a while. I mean, at first, I just I started playing piano because I would try and record songs on my own and want to put piano stuff on. So I had a keyboard, and I would just do it part for part. You know, I would do the right-hand part and then just overdub the left-hand part.
Yeah.
And not ever be able to do them at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so you cheated.
Then I just eventually worked out that coordination somehow just by being very easy on myself.
Oh, really?
Not putting too much pressure on it. You know, doing it like that at first and then being like, well, maybe I can do this.
So you actually were more like, because I remember, I think it's akin to juggling. Like there's a moment where you're just like, I'm doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So you just were easy on yourself as opposed to like, fuck.
But when you scream, I do it out loud, or when you scream, fuck.
Yeah.
You tend to throw yourself off musically.
Right, and especially unless you make that the song, where you keep fucking up and going, fuck!
And you write that into it somehow. Write a change around it.
Yeah. Do you ever do that?
Do I ever just scream, fuck you?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, if this guy keeps sanding, it's going to get ugly. This window opens up, right?
Sure, man. I mean,
Doesn't he know?
Yeah.
What?
No, I told him.
Doesn't he know I drove 15 minutes to get here?
I explained to him, you know, I don't know if you know who Michael Cera is, and I
don't tell me what he said.
I listed your movies. He's like, oh, no.
Shit.
And no, it's all right. I mean, I'm not sure he's your audience.
You didn't have like a Google image?
Well, I didn't. I was going to bring him in, but then he showed up. But I think
maybe
he
you've
gets
seen
it.
me on Conan or something.
Yeah, maybe. We can go back out there and perhaps stand awkwardly for a few minutes when he's
I'm
watching.
the guy.
Yeah, this is
anything. If I make this face,
that's a great way to try to
take this off
to figure out whether people recognize you or not. If there's a moment where they're looking at you, where they're anything, nothing.
Oh man, the worst is when people say like, "Where do I know you from?" and you have to rattle off things you've done.
Right, and then they go, "No, it's from that."
No, it's Zombieland.
Right.
They just insist in the.
No, what's worse is where you do that number and you're sitting there going, "Is this Scott Pilgrim or you know, Arrested Development?"
No.
They're like, "No, the Starbucks. You go to that Starbucks."
Right.
That's
I saw you working down at the Starbucks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. No, it's not me.
No.
Yeah. That's the worst where you just kind of you drop all the names and they're like, "No, none of those are it."
People insist that I'm Jesse Eisenberg a lot lot of the time. You know,
really?
Yeah.
They argue with you?
I mean, they'll just say like, "Hey, man, that new movie looks great." Social Network, I can't wait to see that.
And you're like, that's not me.
One guy in a convenience store one time said to me like, "Jesse Eisenberg?" I was like, no. And he goes, "Michael Cera." Yes.
Bing, bing, bing.
He knew it was one of the two.
And that was I'm hoping that was the end of it. And
yeah.
He just said, "Thanks."
Yeah, right. I just grabbed my 3 bottles of wine and walked away.
You're a walking quiz show. I just came up with an idea for a TV show.
Who is it?
Right. Are you in?
Just help me to understand it a little bit better.
It was really impulsive. I hadn't thought it through. It all came out in that moment. There's no backstory to it.
So someone goes out on the street.
Right.
Hollywood Boulevard, where all the stars...
Well, I think maybe you'd have to... Yeah, right. Hollywood Boulevard, where all the sad
on a clear night, all the stars are out.
The costume people are out. No, where you'd have to set it up where they have to go into an environment. Perhaps you have a couple of B-list celebrities, which you're not one of. But and I'm not condescending them. You got to work.
Maybe we should end there.
Is that we're done?
That's going to be the high point. I think. You saying that? I mean, God, I might cry.
No. Here's the idea. You asked me to flesh it out. I'm going to flesh it out. This is a pitch. So you set up some celebrities, perhaps at a Target, maybe 1 or 2 celebrities.
Oh, I like that.
And they're just shopping.
Okay.
And then you sort of unleash your contestants.
Okay.
And they have to find the celebrity and
There's
also
celebrity Target.
Right.
And you could do a cross promotional.
Right.
Very easily. You know?
Oh, and I could probably get free clothing. There's a lot of stuff I could do. Maybe a coupon. Right. But so they have to find the celebrity and then identify them and name them.
Oh man, that would be so. That sounds very painful for the celebrities.
Well, I don't know if you've watched TV lately, but there are some shows where they're
It's just
open
all about
to that.
degradation. Yeah.
Well, isn't most of it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you choose to be an actor, you're kind of subjecting yourself to that. I guess.
Isn't that television?
Yeah.
Should it just
look at me? I don't care if you think I'm a zero. I don't care. Just look at me, please.
I was watching Network the other night. Have you seen Network?
The
movie Network.
Oh yeah,
from the 70s.
Yeah, Patty Chayefsky. Yeah,
yeah, great,
yeah,
right? And there's and that every time I see that monologue, where not the Ned Beatty one, but one of his sermons where he's like, "We're in the boredom killing business."
Yeah, right.
The boredom killing business.
Turn off your sets.
Yeah, turn them off.
Yeah,
there's no truth here.
Right. He's
so
incredible, that actor.
Yeah, Peter Finch.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that's right. And he passed away.
Like before he won the Oscar.
Right.
He got a posthumous Oscar for that.
Yeah.
He was spectacular. They were
Amazing.
all great. That movie is so fucking darkly
perfect.
funny. Mm-hmm. And there are scenes in that, like every time I watch it, I'm like, I can't believe this movie.
It's so ahead of its time. When the woman is pitching the ideas for the shows.
Yeah.
Those all would be television shows.
Well, that's what it was. It was really a satire, and it became this weird prophecy. I think prescient is what they say.
Yeah.
It was prescient.
That's what I say.
So, do you? Have you used that word?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to
Network was prescient.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time you said that.
Well, no, it is.
It is.
It is the first time I've said that.
Yes. But you have integrated the word
No, I do have
prescient.
a prescience to use that word, though. I appreciate that word.
You appreciate prescience?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a prescience for it.
Okay. But does that work? Does that having a prescience for a prescience?
I don't think so. Now
We're
we've
here
gotten
to-
into a corner here.
Yeah, no. There's no corners here. Everything, it's clutter here. So, but you are an actor. That's what you do. You're not a stand-up comic.
No, I've never done that, yeah.
And you have no desire?
No, I just don't think I think that would be really brazen of me or something. I don't think I could.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's true, though. I mean, if you're
I would
gonna do
resent
that-
you.
Yeah, right.
If you were like all of a sudden decided like, hey, I can sell tickets.
Yeah,
I'll put
exactly.
together 35 minutes and bring 4 openers. I'm good.
Exactly. And I'm too afraid, it's really too scary.
Are you scared in general?
Sure, yeah, I'll go with you on, yeah, I'm scared in general.
Because there is something tentative about the way you move through the world, I think.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
well
sort
put.
of your thing is sort of like, maybe not yet.
I think maybe that's, that might have always been the case, or it might be something I've adopted
Yeah.
as a defense mechanism.
Right, but it's not it's not something you've adopted as a hook. It's still an organic part of your personality. It's like, no, I'm going to be this guy.
No, it's definitely not that. I don't think you could do that, could you?
I've seen comics do it. Comics make weird decisions.
But like a neuroses that they wear.
Right.
On
right,
stage.
Right. That's my act. That's my
But
thing.
do you think they then embody that completely?
Well, some of them.
Alone at home?
Yeah. Well,
In the shower?
Uh-huh. I mean, picture
Okay.
Richard Lewis anywhere. Do you think he's ever just saying like, I'm good?
I have pictured Richard Lewis in the shower, and it always is.
It's difficult. He's having a hard time.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, water, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that some people are truly like that, and I tend to respect them a great deal. And I think you seem to be truly
what is
like
the
you
respect?
are.
What is the? Can you explain that to me? What the respect of it is?
Well, I think that obviously anyone who does stand up is doing some amplified version of themselves.
Yeah.
But I think some people do stand up because it's how they are themselves.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of those guys that everything is very immediate to him.
Yeah.
The connection with the audience.
And he wears it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And because I had him in there, he was sitting right where you were sitting. Mm-hmm. And there was part of me that thought after seeing him recently on TV or maybe in a club, I thought really he's not resolved any of that stuff. It's still this immediate to him, and it is. And then you realize how much do we really change, and what do you expect out of a
it's
person?
his way of experiencing the world.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I know he owns it, but I mean, it seems like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So when did you start doing the
Start acting? I started when I was 9.
Really?
Yeah. I've been doing it 14 years.
You were 9 years old.
I was a
and you're
kid actor.
Canadian, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
it's
that's all a different thing, isn't it?
very different.
Yeah, people are nice up there. There seems to be less competition.
Actually, when I was 9, it was fiercely competitive.
Really?
Among kids in that age group.
Did you have like a bête noire? Did you have somebody you hated? Like there's that
Yeah,
kid.
there was. There were like 3. I would say 3 guys that you see at every commercial audition.
Yeah.
I went on realistically, probably upwards of 100 commercial auditions. In 2 years at 9, and I only ever booked 2 of them. The first one I ever went on. First audition I ever went for.
For what was that for?
It was Tim Hortons, which, do you know what that is?
Sure, it's like they have pretty good coffee. I mean, it's like
it's
Dunkin'
a Canadian
Donuts. Yeah.
institution, you know.
No, but it's here now too. I always look forward to it. I enjoyed the logo. When I see Tim Hortons, I'm like, I'm going to go to Tim Hortons.
Right.
Like, and they made one in New York on 34th Street,
Oh,
right
wow.
across from Macy's.
Wow.
And I was sort of like, it's a Tim Hortons. Like it
Wow.
got me. I got hooked into it somehow. And their coffee is pretty good.
It is what it is. I
Well,
mean,
and it's got kick. It's like Dunkin' Donuts. You take it, you drink a cup, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, and it's a drive-through. You know, I mean, in Canada, you just drive through.
Yeah, and
you
they have
get a
donuts
bagel.
and hamburgers, I think, right? They have,
I don't think they've ever done hamburgers.
No, but you can get lunch.
You can get a sandwich, yeah. You can get a
Right.
bread bowl,
A
soup,
bread bowl,
you know.
yeah.
Bring that in your car.
Sure, and work with that.
Yeah, eat it from the top to the bottom.
Yeah. Got to move quick so it doesn't end up in your lap with a mobile bread bowl.
Right. And you don't want it to dry out because then it's just a weird sandwich.
Yeah, no, it's just something happened bad.
Right.
So was your mom like a driving stage mom?
Oh,
kind of?
yeah. Oh, no. No, driving literally. She drove
Sure.
me and I couldn't.
But it was your dream, not theirs?
Yes. Yeah, fortunately.
No, do you remember what inspired you? Like a commercial?
I think Ghostbusters
Oh, really?
inspired me. Yeah, I think so. I mean, as far as I can, because when I was 4,
Yeah.
I was saying I want to be an actor.
Right.
And I had gotten the chicken pox when I was 3 years old, and so for that week that I had
A lot
them,
of TV.
it was all Ghostbusters, just over and over, and I had
really?
it memorized. Yeah, it was just my whole world.
You'd memorized Ghostbusters at 3 or 4 years old?
Yeah, that was my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot. You're not alone in memorizing things.
Right.
A lot of comics I've talked to and some directors have like memorized shit.
Yeah.
Like Apatow used to write down the scripts of SNL
Really?
sketches.
Oh, so he would
transcribe them.
intentionally
Transcribed.
set about. No kidding.
As a young man, he was like,
Funny.
and you got to assume that people were, like someone like him was starting to understand the mathematics of script
Sure.
writing because of this.
It's
weird
like Hunter
compulsion.
Thompson. Hunter Thompson used to rewrite like Hemingway.
Did he really?
Yeah, because he said he wanted to feel what it would be like to write that great.
I had no idea. That's a
Yeah.
good piece of information.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like
Sure.
It's like learning from the masters or
That's
something.
interesting. Like he would literally transcribe it.
Entire books. Yeah,
Entire books.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's an interesting method of self-education.
And you chose Ghostbusters, not Hemingway.
Yeah, I mean, and I wasn't doing it consciously. I was just like, I liked playing
right.
Peter Venkman.
And it was so fucking funny.
It's
I'm
so
sure,
amazing. Yeah. And when you're 3 years old, it's really,
That's like the best.
you get lost in it.
Yeah. Are they making another one? They are,
I
right?
think they are, yeah.
Are you going to be involved with that?
Not that I know of.
You
no.
should maybe call him. Call Harold Ramis.
Yeah, but
whoever's in
that
charge.
would be playing with fire, I think. Don't you think? When something is so dear to you, and
Yeah.
then I don't want to be the thing that goes in
And ruins
exactly in the third one.
The beautiful thing that you have in your heart from when you were a child.
Right, the thing that literally is responsible for
everything you are.
my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't want to kill that. That'd be so. That's another. I think we just wrote a movie.
Yeah.
About the child actor who loves a certain movie, and then he
Right.
gets cast in the sequel as an adult, and it's horrendously received, and he ends up destitute and sad.
Right.
And then like the actor from the original one finds him on the street and says, "It's not your fault."
That would be incredible. I actually met Bill Murray recently.
Really?
It was one of the most amazing moments in my life.
I think it'd be amazing for anybody, but especially,
Yeah.
what was that like?
He was so nice.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everyone knows the stories of him being just, like, he can kind of
be a little bristly or
be
rough.
really hard on you
Yeah.
or accept you. And I was introduced to him by Jason Schwartzman,
Yep.
who he's got a warmth towards, so
Yeah.
maybe that helped the situation. And he was just really great. And I was about to go down to South America to work, and he was talking to me about that and wished me luck, and it really helped me on this project I went down to do. It was really stayed with me.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Was it? How long did you spend with them? Did you have a meal, or did you?
No, it was, maybe 5 minutes.
What was the situation? Was it?
They were shooting a movie, and I went down to set.
Where,
see
here?
them. It was out here, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was in West Hollywood.
Did Schwartzman call you and say
Yeah.
he's going to be?
Yeah, and I had some other friends working on it too.
You guys have sweet dispositions, Do you ever think you're going to play a killer? Or?
I would really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Maybe you should pursue that opportunity.
Yeah,
It'd be fun if you played a killer and did not change your disposition. at
right.
all.
That would be the scariest, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just be really gentle. Nobody sees it coming.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be fun.
So wait, now before we get to this movie in South America, which sounds compelling.
Yeah, which is why we were going to do this interview a few months ago,
Right.
but then this came up.
Yeah, and you
movie
said
came out.
I thought there was an issue with a bicycle too. Is that possible that you were going to ride your bike somewhere? Maybe I'm making that up. Do you ride a bike?
I do ride a bike, but I don't remember what that
why
would have been.
Would come up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know why I brought it up then. I have no idea.
Yeah. Maybe I was having bike troubles and I postponed. Maybe I just used that as an excuse to postpone.
I'm shooting a movie, but this really has more to do with my bike.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the email.
I got some bike troubles I just can't ignore any longer. I can't take on any other.
I got to get a guy over here to adjust the spokes.
It really needs my full attention.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is going to take.
Yeah. I can't get in that headspace right now.
Not with my bike like
Can't
this.
be introspective while my bike is in this condition.
Oh, shit. So, all right, so your mom's driving you to auditions, buffering your disappointment.
My mom not only did that, but she also, buffering my disappointment, because really it was a lot of auditions. And,
brutal.
Yeah, and there were these 3 kids that you're like, oh, there's that guy, he's going to get this. As soon as you walk in, you just know.
But did you hate him? Did you hate his hair, his dumb face?
I hated the auditioning. I hated the kind of acting.
You didn't hate the kid?
No, I mean, he was really good at doing this certain kind of commercial acting.
And where is that kid now? Do you have any idea?
They're all successful, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I mean, there's
in Canada or?
Yeah, and some of them have kind of broken through to the States, which is like, this monumental challenge when you're growing up doing Canadian work.
Yeah.
It's not only because, it's so competitive, but also because of the work permits, and it's just really complicated.
I've had problems up there.
Yeah.
I was flagged for a while
in
for
Canada,
no reason.
Working up there?
Well, they wouldn't let me in a lot of times.
Oh, really?
It was a big struggle to get in.
Yeah.
Because
they just knew you would be.
And then the paperwork was screwed up. I'd gone up to do a festival, and they didn't have the proper paperwork in place, and I'd driven up from Seattle, so they turned me away. So on record, I was sent out of the country.
What a drag.
Just for nothing.
Yeah.
But for 6 years.
So now that there's like
it's a flag, so I got to go through immigration every time I go in. I got to go sit with the, you never know what you're walking into in immigration.
Right. It really depends on the guy's mood a lot of the time.
Always.
Yeah.
Like the only way I found out what the hell happened was some bitter customs guy who just had enough. Like he was one of these guys like, these kids, they don't do it there. They're not doing it right. Yeah. One of those guys was like, here's what happened. Someone chose to flag you because of this reason, and no one's going to take it off, and it's really up to any individual who's sitting here to, put you through whatever they put you. I'm like, that's the system?
Basically saying, I have the power right now.
Right. And he was easy on me because he wanted to, kind of, get it out.
Yeah, right.
And I appreciate that.
Clarify it.
But okay, so what? Now your parents, though, what kind of childhood? What are we looking at? Dad what did he do?
My dad has worked for Xerox.
Really?
For I don't know, maybe 30 years now.
What do they do now?
He's a technician.
Okay.
He fixes
so he does whatever's necessary.
Big copy machines and whatever's necessary. He's really amazing at that stuff.
Really?
He just fixes things. He we have a big screen TV at my parents' house.
Yeah.
It stopped working. The picture stopped working. He just took like the circuit board out of it and just like took a soldering iron and just fixed it.
That's amazing.
I would have just been like, I need a new TV.
You'd be driving it over to the store.
Yeah, exactly. He's amazing at that stuff. He's built a bocce court in our backyard.
Really?
Just on a whim. He just decided that
that's the rolling balls.
Cool. Yeah.
So you got
but
bocce.
He built this beautiful court.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's really impressive.
So he's a skilled craftsman.
Yeah, he is.
And an engineer, electrical engineer.
He's good with his hands. Yeah.
And it's amazing to have somebody in the house like that.
Yeah, and he's musical. He's an impressive guy.
So he plays music. Yeah. He can solder and build a bocce court.
Right.
See, that's a real man. That's what men do.
I mean, if it was a dating service,
that would be it.
Top 5, right?
Yeah,
I'll take this guy. Yeah.
And what's your mom do? Break a lot of things in the house?
My mom moved down here with me.
Okay.
To do Arrested Development. I needed a guardian. And so up to then, she was doing this, she was doing daycare in our house. She had her own daycare service.
Are they together still?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And, so she stopped doing that to come down with me and live with me for the 3 years that we did the show.
How old were you when you started Arrested Development?
I think 14.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was it was a huge shift.
We're going to have to get to that, too, because I had Cross in here the other day, and I've known him for
no way.
20 years or so. But the weird thing is I had him in here, and because we have such a long history together, I forgot to ask him about Arrested Development at all.
Yeah.
There's no, so I know that I've got an hour and a half conversation with Cross.
Yeah.
And people are going to listen to it waiting for that. I'm like, it's not happening.
There's a lot to cover with him, though. I mean,
well, most of it when I know people 20 years, it's just bullshit, like softball games when we were 20,
A bone to pick from 20 years
definitely.
ago.
Oh, yeah, there's always plenty of those.
Yeah, right.
But in terms of, what was the first gig you got booked on?
the first, aside from like these.
No, the commercials. I mean,
Oh yeah, it was the Tim Hortons commercial.
Oh, that's right. And then
which was not really acting.
Okay.
I was just playing with kids all day,
Yeah.
and we didn't get paid.
Right.
And then my next job was a Pillsbury commercial. I poked the doughboy.
You got to poke the doughboy.
I'm.
You're a poker of the doughboy.
Yeah.
And he went.
Yeah, I had my poker face.
And was there a doughboy there to poke, or was that something they added later?
No, sadly. So they had to, work with me. I was a 9-year-old
Green
kid,
screen?
so they had to. Yeah, it was just like an eye line, and they also had to break the news to me that he didn't exist.
Oh, that's rough.
Which sent me into a real downward spiral.
Did you want to quit acting?
Yeah, I wanted to just quit childhood. I wanted to give up any fantasy.
The dream was over.
I was just having this conversation last night that I remember distinctly my mother telling me there was no Santa Claus.
Yeah. You do?
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe 10. Uh-huh. And then a few months later, brushing my teeth and just stopping and realizing, wait, so does that mean there's no tooth fairy also? There's no Easter, but like it all dawning on me. There's none of it. There's no magic.
That was a bad morning.
It just all came crashing down on
Was
me.
that a morning teeth brushing or a night teeth brushing?
It might
Did you
have
have to
been-
go to sleep with the sad realization?
Yeah,
You didn't even have a day to process?
I don't even think I spat all the toothpaste out. I went into like a zombie.
This
like
dripping out of your mouth and just went to bed with toothpaste
just chewing
oozing
on the pillow.
Yeah, but so the doughboy must have really cinched all that.
Right,
Jeez.
yeah. So then I did a Canadian television show.
As a kid
At 10 years old. And then a few movies, like Movies of the Week, Lifetime Movies of the Week, nothing funny.
Did you get to work with anybody that was...
Lorraine Bracco played my mother. Vincent D'Onofrio played my father in the Abby Hoffman movie.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, steal this movie.
Yeah, Janine was in that.
Yeah, Janine Garofalo was my
Right.
mom in it.
Right.
When I was 10 years old. That was really great for me.
I don't identify you as a kid. It's weird. Or maybe you're just like
It's
forever whatever you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just this
ageless.
ageless.
This ageless guy.
creature.
So that was all before Arrested Development.
Yeah, that was when I was like 10, yeah.
And how did that come about? When
Just auditioning and...
That was it? It was a cold audition?
Yeah, I was doing these like acting classes when I was 8, 9, because a friend of mine was doing, it was just like improv games and stuff where you just are playing games with other kids. Mm-hmm. And I had this really great teacher one year who pulled my mom aside after one of the classes and he said, hey, maybe you guys should consider getting an agent because you could probably make a little money, for school or for whatever. And he was really encouraging. He just said, I think Michael could,
And this when
get
you were
some work.
9?
Yeah.
8 or 9?
And that I remember walking out of that just feeling so full of...
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
I'm gonna
so
be a
happy.
star,
Yeah,
Mama.
I mean, the possibility of that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just that he believed in me in that
Yeah.
way, it was really nice.
And did your mother do that thing? Do you want to do this? Or was she
I mean, she knew I did. I was
right.
really
Already,
excited
right,
about it. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I loved doing it. And I still do, I've always really loved working and getting to play like that.
So you just went in for an audition for Arrested Development?
I sent a tape. Actually, I had done a show the year before for Fox that nobody has ever seen.
Right.
Called The Grubs. We did 8 episodes. It was in front of a studio audience with Randy Quaid.
It was on TV, right?
It never aired, no. Maybe they showed commercials. But
they show commercials and it
yeah,
didn't air? What the fuck happened?
They killed it, yeah. I don't know. It's really hard to understand. We did 8 episodes and then they came in and said, no more. And they replaced us with this kind of mid-season replacement that also failed, it was just one of those weird things. They just felt like it wasn't working.
Huh.
But that led to me getting Arrested Development because these casting people at Fox knew me. And Mitch Hurwitz had seen The Grubs, apparently.
Yeah.
According to him, he had seen it and he said, I like that kid from The Grubs.
Yeah.
And then, then I sent in a tape for Arrested Development and came in and booked it.
And then history was made.
Yeah, although I came so close to not being able to do it because of work permit stuff.
Oh, not because of the other kid from Canada?
No, it was not that. It was like they were shooting the pilot, and they had started, and the work permit had not come in.
Ugh.
And so they kept me around, and they were like, look, we can keep you around like 2-3 days. We can delay shooting your scenes.
Yeah.
But after like Thursday, we got to hire someone else because we have to shoot this pilot. So me and my mom were in the Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey, and they were shooting in the marina on a boat. There's this yacht sequence in the pilot.
Yeah.
And we're just looking out the window at them on this yacht and sitting in the hotel room, and it was terrible. Just
Crying?
waiting.
Was there crying?
I mean, it hadn't gotten to that point yet, but I was really sure that.
And you didn't go stand on the dock?
Yeah,
with the long face,
with the wind blowing in my hair, watching this future be taken away.
Yeah, on a boat.
Yeah.
Had they brought in another kid?
I think so. I think they had a kid standing by. Yeah.
Oh, kid standing by.
Yeah,
that's the name of your book.
On deck, just salivating.
Did you have any? Was there any sense, like from the beginning, that it was going to be so, such a tremendous, not hit in the biggest sense of the word, but that people were going to lock into that? Like, did you know you were doing something completely unique, or was it just a job?
Well, I was so excited about the cast.
Oh my god!
Because we were
funny.
We did like readings where we all auditioned with Jobs, different, the Will Arnett character, and so these like 5 guys came in. And it was the first time I'd ever seen...
Because they hadn't casted it yet?
They hadn't cast that.
Oh.
And Tony Hale was there as Buster, but he hadn't been cast yet. But they had him in there reading, and he was like, I don't know if I have this part or not.
Yeah.
And what he was doing was so funny. And then these 5 guys came in, and they were all funny, and Will was the last one. And he really just was so different from
So you were already cast?
Yeah, I was cast.
And they were casting other people, and they wanted you...
Right.
They were seeing the chemistry.
Yeah, and Jason was there, and
Right.
a few other people had been cast.
Mm-hmm.
But Will coming in was it really just changed the whole thing. Because other people had been reading the part very differently. Almost more like Tobias, like David Cross's, like they were very gentle.
Uh-huh.
They're like staging this intervention in the pilot, and they would all be kind of condescending, and Will just had that attitude that he has right from the start.
Yeah.
He just brought that in.
Yeah.
And it was all him,
Yeah.
And it was like electrifying.
In terms of comedic sensibility, I mean, all those dudes are so, high level comedic actors. I mean, did you see yourself as a comedic actor at that time? I
felt so lucky to get that part, even though I'm not, in my role in the show is kind of, it's grounded in this family element.
Yeah.
But I was just so excited to be on that team,
But you have a great sort of almost like a strangely unique and stilted timing around how you do.
Yeah, and
funny.
I have this strange thrust right from the beginning, which is I'm in love with my cousin.
Right.
Which is fun. It's a really fun thing to... I mean, it's so weird,
I just saw her in a movie.
Yeah, Alia Shawkat.
I saw her in The Lie, in Joshua Leonard's movie. It's an independent film.
Right.
I just went to a screening of that. It's a sweet movie.
I haven't seen it.
She's got a small part.
Right.
But
I remember
it's
her
great.
talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. The movie's really great.
Yeah, my friend Marc Weber's in that.
Yeah, where's he from?
He and I worked together on Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, that's right.
He's in that. And,
that's a great movie. That was a good time, no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that movie. I'm really proud of it. But he's amazing. He's been around for years, and he's just one of those.
He's one of those guys where you see him, it's like, that's that guy.
He's always solid, and
It's an interesting movie. I don't know if it's going to get a big release, but I think it's going to be on Netflix soon, like available. I don't know how they're doing it. It's very weird how things are released now. Have you got movies in the can that you don't know whether they're going to be out or...
Well, this movie in Chile, I really don't know what the future of that movie is going to be.
But you went to Chile.
Yeah, but there's no money. It was shot in 12 days, and with a crew of like...
Do you play Allende?
No. But I ended my career by doing it. But literally, like this Sander is one of the crew. It was like just a handful of guys that...
Ernie was on the crew.
Yeah,
huh?
Ernie.
Yeah.
It was a really small movie. I don't know. I think maybe it'll get into some festivals or something.
What's it about?
It's about. It's called Crystal Fairy. It's about this woman named Crystal Fairy who's this kind of hippie, strange woman, and she's in Santiago, and so am I, and I'm this American also, and we meet, and oh boy, it's so funny describing it out loud. It's not really. It's kind of a meandering movie, there's not a real thrust to it.
Who directed it?
This Chilean guy named Sebastian Silva, who's amazing.
Hey, did you know of him before you got asked to do the movie?
Yeah, he did a movie called The Maid a few years ago.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, and I was in New York one day, and it was freezing. It was in January, and I went into a theater to get out of the cold, and it was just starting, this movie.
A small movie.
Yeah, very small.
Yeah.
And just playing on a handful of screens.
Yeah.
And I saw it. It was just starting, and I walked in and just loved it.
Yeah.
And then got to meet him, and we're doing another movie together this year. So it's exciting, to work with.
So you're going to be his guy.
Well, we're going to do, these 2 films. Which
it's like Scorsese and De Niro. It's like, this is it. This is
That would be fantastic. I would love to find a guy like that,
Were you just in every movie?
Yeah, where you just really work well together and have a bunch of exciting collaborations together. That's such a dream,
Have you had trouble with directors?
No, I've had amazing luck with directors.
Well, who directed most of the Arrested Developments?
There were a handful of guys. Paul Feig did a lot. Greg Mottola.
Yeah.
J. Chandrasekhar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was.
But TV's a little different.
Guys.
But in movies, I'm trying to remember who directed Scott Pilgrim.
That was Edgar Wright. You know him?
No, I don't.
He did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And did this amazing show called Spaced. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. They're kind of a crew.
Show,
they
right?
do a lot of stuff together.
I need to watch more.
Those are my favorite. You know, there's like a handful of British shows that have really had a profound effect on me.
Like which?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Did you ever watch that?
No.
For some reason, nobody knows that one, but it's so
I'm
funny.
not an idiot, at least.
No, nobody in
What's it
London
called?
even. It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
And it's British?
Yeah.
And they don't know it in Britain?
No, they just did 6 episodes.
Are you sure it exists?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm very sure it exists. Yeah.
Not something you're making up.
I don't think so. I'd be so proud of myself if I. That would be amazing if I could just.
What is that? What's the impact of that on you?
Well, it's just so funny.
Okay.
And so well done. You know, they have such a high standard of quality over there.
I don't know why I'm wired to I obviously watched Python a lot, and but I didn't keep up with a lot of it because I'm more wired, Jewish, neurotic, kind of manic American, insecurity-driven comedy, and I don't know that I ever.
What about like The Office, though? I mean, that's
great.
That's what that is, basically, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's great.
Pure insecurity.
That thing, Ricky Gervais in that is just, and I'm not obviously the first to say this. It was something beyond anything I could have. I mean, it's it's inexplainable.
Yeah, it's true.
How amazing he is in that show.
I just rewatched that. I hadn't seen it in years, and man, he's just finds these moments. There's never a false moment with that character. Everything he does is something you've seen before.
The scene where he dances, to me was beyond anything I could have. Like where he's gonna show them.
Yeah.
And he does that thing, and the intensity that he puts into it is so vulnerable.
And then he can't admit how bad it was afterwards.
Right.
He's like,
but there's never been a bigger asshole that you love so much.
Right.
And he's not an asshole in the standard asshole way just because he's
although
so
he can be.
self-involved.
You know, there are some moments that I'd forgotten where he gets really viciously ugly.
Right.
Like mean with other people.
No, that's true.
And they kind of brush past it. They don't linger on it. But, there are some moments where he'll insult, like, a woman for her looks or something, and it's just like, whoa, you are so insecure.
But he's still grounded in this delusional self-centeredness that he's always sympathetic.
He's so lonely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just so,
it's so odd because I don't, he sort of annoys me in other things, like, publicly.
Right.
Gervais does a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't have.
Have you ever had him on the show?
No, I don't know how to get to him.
Oh.
But I'd like to. But I think I find him
fascinating.
I find him a little intimidating on some level, but also I find, I don't know whether he's sort of, kind of a pompous ass or not.
I know, it's really hard because that show, he seemed to have this real grasp on humanity,
right,
and on someone who's so up their own ass that they can't see themselves.
And same with extras too. I thought that was very humbling, and I liked a lot of those. But when I see him do stand-up or I see him on talk shows, and every publicity shot of him has that same weird look with his mouth open, I'm like, I've had enough. I mean, I'm annoyed at the billboards, and that affects me.
Right? Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And I get the feeling that he thinks everything's beneath him, but I'm projecting, and certainly if I had the opportunity to talk to him, I would.
Yeah, that thing that he's tapping into now, that kind of like, careless, controversial guy is not what I really gravitated towards him for in the first place. So I don't really have
the necessity to infuse atheism into almost every statement he makes publicly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it really, I think rewatching The Office made me reappreciate him in that because I had kind of forgotten, based on all that stuff he's doing now, I'd forgotten how, impressive he is in that.
Oh, it's so subtle, and again, another guy with an amazingly unique comedic timing.
Right.
Like, it's completely his own.
And it's so amazing right out the gate how much he goes for it, just because that character is someone who wants to be funny, so that gives him this free reign as a performer on the show to just do all this.
To be profoundly unfunny and funny because of it.
And it's true to the character.
Yeah.
It's really smart.
Well, I had this amazing moment with an interview with a British comedian who I think is spectacular.
Who's that?
Stuart Lee. And I never knew of him until an American comic who spent time there was like, you got to see this guy.
Oh, I don't know him.
And he's completely original and completely unique in his delivery and his timing, and a very brilliant guy. And that really, like, I'm just not, I don't feel like it's xenophobia or anything, snobby about my approach to British comedy. It's just not in my face.
Yeah.
You know, I have to make choices to go find it.
Right.
But
because there's a lot of bad ones too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big.
Well, that's what I was associated with, men wearing wigs and speaking loudly.
Right.
And
you kind of have to dig for the, it's kind of like over here, you know, if something's good, you have to.
What about Canadians?
Yeah, I mean, Canada has this really strange track record for television and just content. It's really odd.
Do you know the McKinney brothers? Do you know the Kids in the Hall guys or any?
I don't know the McKinney brothers.
Well, Marc McKinney and his brother Nick.
His brothers?
Yeah, Nick had a sketch show on Comedy Central here for a while. But yeah, were the Kids in the Hall?
Kids in the Hall. Yeah, I mean, Kids in the Hall was amazing.
Did you ever? Which part of Canada did you grow up in?
In Toronto, or outside of Toronto.
That's good. It's a good town.
Yeah.
So they were there. Did you ever get to see them?
No, I mean, I don't know when did they end?
Yeah,
probably 90s, right?
Like, you were born when?
88.
Ugh.
Yeah. I remember watching them every day. It was on every day at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such an amazing thing to discover.
And you never wanted to do sketch?
I did a little bit of that. You know, not that never was an ambition of mine, just because of the way I kind of stumbled into, you know, Arrested Development and that, you know, that being kind of the first opportunity to do something funny, really.
Now, when does the movie shoot?
I don't know. I think hopefully this summer, but
you're in, right?
Yeah, I just think it's so hypothetical.
Still?
Until it happens. Well, only because there isn't a script yet. But it seems like now everyone kind of believes that.
Have you all met together, or are you still? Was everyone just sort of like, "What's going to happen?" Right?
We did this thing in New York in October for the New Yorker Festival.
Yeah,
and that was the first time we had all been together.
A panel?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a panel, like a reunion thing, and that was the first time I'd seen a lot of those people in like 6 years.
Tambor,
Tambor's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's the most amazing guy. He used to just get changed with his door wide open, the trailer door. I've seen him in his underwear.
I have a feeling that he strikes me as a guy with no personal boundaries whatsoever.
I don't think he does have personal boundaries. I think he likes to make a game of breaking them down. Like the first time the first time I introduced him to my mother.
Yeah.
This is episode 2 of the show. We were doing a table read, and he was just walking by, and I went, "Jeffrey, this is my mother, Linda." And he walks by, he goes, "I don't want to meet your fucking mother." And just goes away. And then like 10 seconds later, me and my mom are stunned, like about to pack our bags, and he comes back and gives her a kiss on the cheek. You know, he's just like, you just have to be okay with this.
Well, that's just funny because, like, if you told that story about anybody else, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" But for some reason, with him, you're like, "Of course he did that."
It makes sense, yeah.
Was he always fucking with people like that?
Yes, and he was always, you know, he could just do things like that, just be mean like that, and you just knew it was coming from an okay play.
But did he make up for it usually?
He never had to, because it was never really angry, except I did see him have an angry outburst once.
Really?
And it was really scary because everyone thought he was joking at first.
I bet you it would be scary. But he seems like a scary guy in some ways. Well, he's a big guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's intimidating. Yeah. But in fairness, he was in a very uncomfortable situation where, like, we were doing a bit on when he's found in a hole, like a rabbit hole, like Saddam Hussein. You know, we do that. And so he's down there, and like sand is getting kicked into his eyes. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of starting to get to him. Right. And then he was like, "How many more of these are we going to do?" And someone laughed, and he was like, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" You know, that kind of thing. Right. But
and there was a moment where people were like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he gets away with it because he has such warmth, I think.
Well, it's weird to know how long, like, I believe I'm going to interview him at South by Southwest.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had seen Larry Sanders when we were shooting.
Yeah.
And if I had, I think I really would have been unable to talk to him. Just would have been in awe.
That thing is amazing. That's
one of my favorite performances. I mean, he's so consistent. It's unbelievable.
The whole arc of that series is mind-blowing.
Yeah. And his character, he's...
it's similar to the Gervais character in a way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But not, I'm not talking in terms of anyone copying anything, but I would say that all the characters on Larry Sanders, unlike, The Office, is that they're hyper self-aware in some weird way.
Yeah.
That there's this bravado to all of them, but then there's this paralyzing, spiraling insecurity to every character on there, except for, Rip Torn.
Yeah, Rip Torn seems
but
pretty
even
solid.
He has his moments where he kind of breaks down.
Yeah, right.
The
show is his identity.
Yeah.
Like there's that moment where the show is ending and he just goes into the wardrobe
weeps.
closet and just cries. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's really nice.
Did you watch that recently?
That show? Or
the series.
Yeah, once it all came out on DVD.
But Tambor was in Injustice for All with
the Al Pacino movie, yeah.
I mean, he was amazing in that.
Yeah.
He loses his
He's been
mind.
around a long time.
Right. It's just, and he's very Jewish, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't say that in a bad way. I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
You're not Jewish, are you?
No, I'm not, no.
What's your background?
Well, my father is Italian.
Like Italian?
He grew up in Sicily, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it if you saw him.
See, now he's an Antonioni character. You know, he belongs in a movie like The Bicycle Thief. He's fixing things.
Right, he's like this young boy growing up in Italy.
Yeah.
This doe-eyed little boy.
And that was the way it was?
Yeah, I think that's who he was.
Fixing TVs
as
a child, maybe bicycles.
Speaking Italian.
Yeah. Do you?
No, I would.
How do you grow up with a man in the house and not pick up a second language?
I really wish I had. All my first cousins are bilingual. I think it's
you were
'cause
given a gift and you didn't take it.
maybe if my mom were Italian speaking, we would have had the balance in the
Really,
household.
but she doesn't like Italians in general? Or?
She hates Italians, yeah, which is why she married him. She's not even racist. She's only racist towards Italians. It's
That's
a strange,
weird.
specific thing.
Yeah, and that's what's kept your family together so long.
Right, that's the glue.
Where's your mom? What's her background?
She grew up in Montreal. She's Canadian.
Does she speak French?
No.
So it's a family thing with you guys.
Yeah,
you're surrounded by a second language, but you just refuse.
I had no hope of being bilingual. Although now I pretty much speak Spanish fluently.
Is that true?
Yeah, I studied before going down to South America.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have a knack for it?
Well, I really I really studied.
What
pretty
did you
intensely.
use? The Rosetta Stone? Or?
Berlitz.
Really?
Yeah, I went and studied with a woman.
Oh, okay.
Because this movie we're going to do this year, I'm going to be speaking Spanish in it.
The whole movie?
Not the whole movie. But my character is fluent.
Like, I wish I could communicate. I feel stupid for not knowing a second language. Like, there gets a point, especially when you live in LA, where it's like, I really should, out of
Pick that up.
respect.
Yeah.
And out of practicality.
Right.
Know how to speak the language.
It is nice to break it out now and then.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you impress friends and family?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
So let's get back to the Arrested Development movie for a minute. So it's going to happen.
It seems like it, yeah.
Okay.
I think it is.
You have no idea what the storyline is.
No. Although, what I think the idea is now is that we're going to do 9 episodes before the movie.
Okay.
We're going to do 9 episodes, one for each character, kind of giving some backstory.
Oh, just reset.
Yeah. Right, because Mitch figured, if you were to spend 5 minutes on each character in a movie, just catching them up, that's like, a good hour of the movie already.
But it's also, spending an episode with the character this 6 years later or whatever, or however long it's
right.
been.
Seeing where we're at, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be interesting, because I would think that with a few of these characters, things have gotten sort of grim.
Yeah, you would think. I think that's what he's planning on doing.
Yeah, and the whole cast is on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
I can't wait. Is
there a network commitment to it? Is Fox going to do it?
No, I think Netflix is doing the shows.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah. God damn it. Now the music thing, is that something you're pursuing actively?
No, I don't think I'm not good enough to pursue it. It's just sort of, have you ever done that? Have you ever thought about doing it?
I think about it a lot, and I played with a band recently, and I play a lot in here, and I play to records, and I enjoy playing, and I'm not bad at it, but when I play with other people, I get nervous.
Yeah, I know.
And I fuck it up.
Right.
Like I played recently with, and it was like, they wanted me to play really loud, and I'm like, really? Just I'd be okay back here, and I need more light, I can't see my fingers. That kind of...
Right.
So it didn't go as well as I would have
That's
hoped.
something I scream out in the middle of the night for some weird reason.
I need light.
I can't see my fingers. Where's the light? I wake myself up screaming that.
Yeah, I understand. If Santa Claus were still in place, you wouldn't have those problems. But I think that was the beginning of a long, horrible night panic for
now
you.
that sent me into this spiral of not knowing what's real.
Yeah.
Am I real? I can't see where are my hands?
You're obviously very professional, and you seem well grounded for the most part.
Right.
You don't seem fucked up. Are you fucked
Not today.
up? You got
today
something you want to say?
I'm okay today.
You need to tell the world something? Are you hiding some sort of horrible pain?
It really
and
depends
terror?
on the breakfast I have. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's that simple, though?
I think today I hit a good note.
Yeah, what'd you have for breakfast?
Just a bowl of cereal. Some
cereal.
coffee.
Cereal.
Had some Life.
Good. You had Life cereal.
I thought we were gonna get reflective today, and I just wanted to start early.
Have we gotten reflective?
Not as deep as I was preparing myself for.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you listened to the show?
Yeah, I actually last night, this is maybe very ill-advised, but I was at a party, and I was telling some friends of mine I was going to do this show.
No, they don't. Which one?
And my friend Nick says, "Oh, you have to listen to the Todd Hansen one."
Oh boy, yeah.
Before you go on. So I listened to it last night in bed as I'm falling asleep. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me tomorrow?
You had to manufacture some existential grief of some kind.
No, I had to work on hiding it. I think put up an extra.
But it seems like you've had to be your age and to have as gifted a life on some level.
Yeah.
And I've met people like that before. I would assume that, and I'm projecting here, and I'll just throw it out there. I would assume that the concern would be where do I go from here?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And how do I sustain this?
Yeah, or not sustain it. Sustaining seems to be the obvious thing, but it's impossible, though. I mean, I think if that's your, it's a hard thing to maintain a certain level of success in something. I find that really hard to, and also that's never been my was never my goal from the outset to maintain a certain level of,
Well, you were 9.
Right. You're just doing it because you like being on set and you like doing the scenes,
And that has stayed with you.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
But when you're at the level you're at and you have agents and you have relationships with huge filmmakers,
right.
who are fans of yours, and you've done big movies and you're very public. I mean, even in the small way that I'm doing this podcast is the biggest thing I've ever done.
Right.
And every day I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm going to say something. Someone's going to realize that, oh my God, this guy just goes through cycles and cycles of panic. And, what I thought was growth was just an upturn. And, and eventually I'm going to exhaust people of my bullshit.
Right. It hasn't happened yet though, right?
No, but I have to assume that, like I said this yesterday, that when you're anxious and full of dread and you have nothing going on, you can only go up from there. So that dread, there's a consistency to that. That's almost, it feels like home. Mm-hmm. But when you're in the middle of something.
Do you find that's a cycle? Is that like, deep sea diving where you like hold your breath and then you go to the ocean floor and then you're down there again and you just have to go up for air, Well,
I find now because, I don't have time to really complain because that becomes a real issue is that, are you going to go to that place and talk about it when visibly everything is going okay for you?
Right.
And if you do that, how the hell, people are going to be like, well, what the fuck does he want?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why can't he accept that things are going okay? And then you realize, like, I don't know what I want.
Right.
And that, what, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
No, that's really true. I mean, I had I had a moment a few years ago where I was like, do I want to keep doing this? Am I perpetuating something that I don't really even...
Which is what? Perpetuating what?
Well, I was having a hard time with just being
typecast as Michael Cera?
No, that was, I was fine with any of the work element. It was just the stuff that was coming with it that I was starting to feel really burdened by.
Like what?
Being judged or being, having people kind of have an opinion about you.
Yeah.
Is a weird thing.
Sure.
Even though you can't say you didn't sign up for it.
Right.
But also having this pressure to maintain, to keep going down that path, which seems like the only choice. It's like, why would you stop working now when you're doing well?
Right. But there's also that, but like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Right.
What, are you going to get a job at a store?
Exactly. What are you going to do? You kind of...
And deny who you are when people go, hey, you're... No,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Weirdest thing. That guy looks exactly like me.
That's the thing, is that you can't deny it. That was my first reaction. Because I was like 18, I was 18 when this got when Superbad came out. That week, it was literally like that week where walking down the street was just very different all of a sudden.
Right.
And that was really strange. And
But good?
No,
or did you feel
not
revealed?
Good. Not good. No, I mean, it was exciting that the movie was big, but I mean, but it's not, it's like, it's a weird, you have this feeling of losing control.
Mm-hmm.
And not...
Your life isn't your own anymore.
Right, and getting that back is not really an option. So you lose an option that looks a lot more valuable in retrospect.
Right.
You know,
your privacy and your anonymity.
In your control. Yeah.
Right. Because now, like, you know, once you're on that level, once you're a game piece in the big board, you know, people are, like, there's that always people going like, well, when's that piece going to be taken off the board?
Right.
Like, what happened to that guy? And no one asks for that.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden you're elevated to this place.
Right. Yeah.
And all you're hoping for is, like, you don't want to be the whatever happened to that guy.
Yeah, and it really happens of no device of your own. It just happens.
It's horrible. In now, given the accessibility people have through social networking, that it's insane in show business specifically that you can just see the arc of decay. I mean, you have decay and sort of fading away that happens. Yeah. And you always want to have the most dramatic thought about, like, how they live with themselves now. They don't know. But a lot of people are just sort of like, I'm done. I'm fine.
Living life.
I save money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, there are actors I see on TV where you're like, what the fuck has that guy been doing?
Yeah.
What has he been doing for 20 years? I don't know.
How's he been coping?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just sitting around eating cereal, wondering when the next job is. But the weird thing is, once you're in show business, you realize that, you know, people get paid pretty well sometimes. And, you know, if there's a year or two where you're not working, you're all right.
Yeah.
You're not sitting around, you know, like the day that you didn't, your series stops, all of a sudden you're like, I got to live outside.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen.
No, I mean, and the real path of the typical child actor that grows up and becomes an adult is like a very unfortunate way. It's a really sad story normally.
Almost always.
And you can see a handful of, you know, I mean, you could see the path people are on.
Sure. Very
clearly. You can kind of see where it ends.
Well, there is that thing, and because also what you're playing against is like the freakishness of seeing that child, the beloved child, as an adult.
Right. It's disconcerting.
It is.
Yeah, it is. When it's, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah, all of a sudden they show up.
What happened to their face? It's never comfortable.
But, you know, you have been you've grown up on screen in a way, and you still maintain, you know, you've done all your changes. I try to
soften the blow.
Yeah, no, you've done all your changes. It's not going to, unless you put on 50 pounds.
You think I've arrived at where I'm going to?
Yeah.
I've done all my
I think so.
This is me in 10 years.
Yeah, give or take.
Boy, that would be nice. I could really
avoid
startling people.
Well, you're lucky because you weren't. It wasn't like you were 10 and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened to that guy? It's he's on a show. Like, holy shit.
That's difficult. I mean, I know there are some people that have gone through that. You know,
the kid from Malcolm in the Middle,
Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, I mean, where's he at?
I think he became a race car driver.
Okay, so there was an option.
Yeah, right. Don't think I haven't considered it. You know, but I just don't want people to say he's copying Frank Muniz.
I like that a child actor actually, made enough money and got enough fame to pursue a childhood dream.
Right.
You know, I'm going to maybe you could be a fireman.
Yeah.
Or an astronaut. Why not?
Right. Why not?
No, but I understand that. So you live with that. The fear of that.
I kind of like it. You know, I mean, there was a moment where it took me a few years to just deal with that and you know, figure out how not to fight it. How not to constantly react in a bad way to, like, being recognized or, you know, it was like ugly for a while for me. I really couldn't deal with it.
It's weird when I get recognized. I know it's from a podcast, so I'm sort of impressed. You know, I'm like, wow, you like Marc Maron.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit. You know, you don't even know what I look like. But, but you know, I do comedy and stuff. So, because like I can see that you're very specific. You know, you're who you are. So, I mean, I would imagine that the challenge is in you're saying when you mention that, like, how do I get away from that? You make different career choices to challenge yourself.
Well, that's what I like about it is that... and
challenge the expectation.
Yeah, I think I've arrived in a place where people don't expect anything surprising, which I kind of find exciting. You know, because you can play off of that.
Well, it seems like double-edged sword, though, because then it's like, you know, they don't expect anything surprising. So on some level, you're like, I can just keep doing the same thing until people don't like me.
Right.
Or you can do something surprising, which is the road you're taking.
Or trying to. I mean, you know, hoping to.
And did you find that these recent parts that you're doing in the South American movie that might not get released or whatever?
Right, yeah.
Was that different? Yeah,
it is different. It's a different kind of movie, I think. You know, it's what's fun is to find a director who has no preconceived notion of what what using me means.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, I feel like there might be if someone's putting me in a movie and putting money into it, it's maybe because they're expecting a certain thing.
No surprises.
But he doesn't have that. Yeah.
Right.
So it's nice to work with someone who doesn't really have any doesn't give a shit about your career arc, and they're just using you in this way that they think is amusing.
And what are some of the how would you like to what are some of the dream parts that you would like to do? Like, what kind of movie would you like to be involved with? I'd
like to do a really weird, a very alienating film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be,
like a 1970s,
like a Michael Haneke movie or something.
Like, which ones are his?
He did like Funny Games and The Piano Teacher.
The Piano Teacher,
I think that would be really
know. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Piano Teacher's.
What's that about?
It's Isabelle Huppert.
Oh yeah.
French actress.
Oh yeah.
And she lives with her mother.
I saw this. What does she do? She gets involved with a
young guy.
Yeah, right.
And then it's just this psychological wrestling match between them.
Right.
It's a power struggle.
Right.
And then he gets completely on top of her, and the ending is just amazing.
She comes unhinged somehow, right?
Yeah, completely. She's totally crazy.
Right.
And just so guarded in the beginning, and then she lets her guard down and lets him in, and he gets to her, and then she's just loses her mind.
So you want to be the Isabelle Huppert character? Or?
That would be great, yeah, if we could redo that. Reverse the roles. That would be really fun.
That would be. So you want to do something psychologically menacing.
The guitar instructor.
The guitar... Now, do you have friends who, like, outside of Weber, and do you hang out with the other comedy guys, like Jonah Hill or any of those dudes?
Yeah, I hang out with those guys.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen Jonah in a while. He's kind of been working all over the place.
Busy, becoming a big star.
Yeah. He's all over.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen him in a long time, but we became really close when we were doing this super bad promotional tour.
Yeah.
To the point where, we were together every day. We promoted that movie for like 2 months.
I like him because, it's interesting, even that, he sort of grew up in Hollywood and everything. I like that there seems to be a genuine anger at the core of him.
Right.
That sort of drives him. Like, I think he's got a real kind of like a vengeance of some kind.
Yeah, it's a nice he's got a great balance between that and this like exuberant joy.
Yeah. But it's there,
That's nice.
Am I making that up?
They're both there. I think they're both there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who else? So Schwartzman's your buddy?
Schwartzman, yeah, and
have you been on that show? I think they just canceled it though.
No, Bored to Death?
Yeah.
No, I never was.
Yeah, that's a cute show.
Yeah, I got into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Who do you read? The Hunter S. Thompson thing, that was a real gift there. I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
You seem like an erudite kind of dude. You sit around,
that's a gift. Thank you for that. I like George Saunders a lot. Have you ever had him on the show?
No,
George
but I have
Saunders?
his books, and people have suggested him.
He'd be amazing on
his contemporary, Sam Lipsyte, I
don't know him.
Oh, he's great.
Sam Lipsyte.
Yeah, he's great. Huh. He's a real close friend of mine. I wonder if I have an extra copy of anything here.
Oh,
he wrote, he's got a few novels. The last novel is called The Ask. And it's great. Do you like stuff like 70s style literary dark comedy, like Heller and do you ever read why is that guy's name eluding me now? Stanley Elkin.
No.
Yeah, he's got a great dark comedic sensibility. But Saunders has been recommended me a couple of times.
He's pretty incredible.
What is his book?
Pastoralia.
Yeah,
he's got a few collections of, and then he's got this essays collection called The Brain Dead Megaphone.
Yeah,
you like him, huh? He's great. And John Fonte, you ever read John Fonte?
I've been given it, but I didn't read it. He's
really?
An L.A. writer, right?
Yeah.
Sort of
30s guy.
Influenced Bukowski and some other people, or no?
Yes, Bukowski cited him as his god.
Right.
Many times.
Yeah, I have to read that. I've read some James or some Shelby, the Last Exit to Brooklyn.
Oh, I don't know him.
That?
No, don't know him.
Requiem for a Dream.
Okay.
Very dark, sort of heroin-oriented, 40s, 50s.
Huh.
Isn't it Selby, right? Yeah. James Selby. No, cool. I hope I'm not fucking that up.
Right.
So what happens now? Where do you go today?
Today, I don't know. I don't have any plans. I kind of booked a day around this. I figured I was going to go home and crawl into a ball after this, but it was.
What would you think was going to happen? I mean,
I don't know. I thought I was going to learn things about myself that I've been putting aside.
Now I feel like I haven't done my job. I think we have learned that you have you have some father issues around learning Italian.
Right.
And
Maybe
and
that's a way of...
You envy his ability to solder, and you're never going to be able to live up to him.
Right.
And your mom's life was built around you for a good portion of your career.
That's a whole other conversation. I mean, I mean, she moved out to L.A. with me for 3 years. You know,
did she have
just
a job?
The two of us. She was just working on the show with me. I mean, taking me to the show.
But before that, did you take her away from?
Yeah, well, she was doing this daycare business.
So you took her away from caring for children.
Yes, I did.
To really.
Yeah.
So you probably had a tremendous impact on the lives of people that had grown to rely and trust your mother for parenting.
Sure.
Maybe you should reach out to
my
those
sisters.
kids.
You know, I mean, my sisters were.
You were it.
Yeah.
So is there any resentment coming to you from the sisters?
It's indirect, but it's there. I mean, I
see it on Twitter occasionally.
Yeah, it's just a Facebook update.
Negative Facebook updates from your sisters.
Yeah.
What do they do?
They're both working in Caledon, Ontario, which is where my family lives now. Working around there. My older sister went through school, and now she's trying to get work as a teacher. And my younger sister's in art school. And
there's like, you go back and they're like, oh, here he is.
It's weird going home. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I was the first to move out. You know, my older sister's still at home.
Uh-huh.
So when I go back, I'm going back into this dynamic that they're all
still in.
Cemented in. Yeah, and that's, you know, very, very much kind of frozen in time.
Yeah.
Know? Like,
do you get back into the dynamic, or do you fight it?
No, I don't get into it. I don't fight. I try not to fight it, but I mean, I really see it.
Yeah.
In a removed way.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Do they treat you differently?
No, but I think anytime I kind of mention if I call someone on something that maybe I see that they're not used to
right
being pointed out, it never has gone over well. You know?
Really? Do they say things like, "Oh, I guess the movie star is chiming in"?
Something like that. Something like that. You know.
Who are you? You haven't been here.
Who are you?
You took our mother away. That kind of stuff.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But you know, but hidden.
Yeah.
It's
passive.
That's what I hear. But you know, they'll really say like, Michael, I feel some aggression right now.
Oh, you're that?
No, not really. No, I mean
that's psychologically aware. You know, I think there's a problem with communication right now. I'm feeling hurt and angry.
Yeah, I mean that's how I try and approach it, and then that's normally not really.
Oh no,
it's not.
They want you to dive back into the dynamic.
Yeah, I think so. I think that.
Sure.
I think it's kind of a stalemate.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you're able to transcend that. I'm assuming you don't spend a lot of time home.
No, you know, a few times a year I'm there.
Right. So you got to
like
give yourself
You know, it's like watching an iceberg slowly change shape, but you're just like, well, it has to eventually.
How long do you stay usually?
You know, 2 weeks or a few weeks.
That's usually enough to re-engage.
Yeah, oh yeah. Within a week, I'm like, you know. We're digging up some stuff, yeah. Getting our hands dirty.
Where does it sit now? Okay,
it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I have a pretty good relationship with all of them. It's just it's strange coming in and bringing that outsider kind of point of view and seeing like, you know, just conversations that take place, just being like, whoa, are you listening to that? Like, do you hear yourselves? It's strange to be talking that way still.
Oh, you say that,
certain things.
You sort of take a higher ground.
Well, I feel that. I don't know.
Interesting. Do you say that?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you're still saying that.
It's interesting. Yeah, that would not go over well. They would just all turn on me.
Oh, my God.
Interesting.
Well, there must be some envy, I would have to imagine.
Maybe they, you know, I think it's because, you know, I've moved out. I'm kind of the only one who's come down here. I'm on my own. So I don't know. Maybe there's this sense of did they have desire of leaving? I mean, I don't know what Canadians think and whether you can speak. Well, my older
Canada.
sister is still at home. You know,
that's rough. How old is she?
She's 26. So where normally she would have maybe paved the way.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I kind of paved the way now.
Right. What's the story with your room? Is it still?
It's still the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Still has the Ghostbusters bed sheets. And
oh, good. You want to be able to go. Have you thought about? Do you do any writing yourself?
Yeah, I did a web show that I wrote and directed with a friend of mine. That's been the only thing I've really.
What was that called? Vaguely.
Clark and Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I've really I've written that's I've seen all the way through.
Have you thought about writing this part for yourself with the cycle? Because it sounds like your family is sort of, you know, in a fairly non-menacing, necessarily menacing way, that there's a good backdrop for what you want to do. I really recently have written a pilot for kind of a way to
vent that, but indirectly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you haven't had to make phone calls and say to your sisters, like, look, it's not you, it's a character.
Yeah, I'm
who's
not
a
looking
teacher
forward to that.
that lives at home. But it's not you.
I used your name because how many names are there that would have sounded realistic?
Yeah, and I'm going to be talking to this character, so I want it to seem real.
So I want it to come naturally. My outbursts, I don't want to be worrying about, wait, what's the character's name?
But it's not you.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I hope you're not disappointed maybe we'll have to have a second session, or perhaps we can do this weekly.
Sure.
If we want to get to these things that I wasn't able to get through.
Maybe just record every third time or something.
Yeah, and I'll give you my phone number and make myself available to you whenever necessary.
Oh, I would appreciate it, man.
You just call me when you can't see your hands, and I'll come out here and
turn on the but at least we're on the road.
Yes. I think we've got a good start, and I think we can really. I see a possibility for growth.
I've gone to therapy maybe just twice in my life.
Yeah.
And each time, afterwards, I felt like I really didn't say any of the stuff I came here intending to bring up.
Uh-huh.
Which is why I kind of stopped going. I felt like I'm not good at that. I'm not good at getting into it.
Well, I think that some people over an hour or two, it may not be what you're expecting.
Yeah.
So, because the weird thing is that even with this conversation, like I would assume that there's not a large number of hour-plus conversations with you out in the world.
Right.
So even people that have
recorded, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you talk to people.
Right.
I mean, do you?
This is the longest in weeks, actually.
And that you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So
normally it's like I'll just take the pepperoni.
Yeah. Thanks. No steamed milk. No whipped cream.
No, thank you. It comes out really cardboard like that. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's very good. No, but like people will listen to this. And this is a weird thing I found about this show, that even if, whether or not you felt disappointed or not, people who assume they know who you are or know you based on your characters will never have heard you talk like this.
Right.
So they're going to be like, oh my God, he's talking like a person.
Right.
And he's not, he's like a whole person. He's got sisters.
It's really different when you go on Conan, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You just have 7 minutes to try and get to the anecdote.
What did you talk about on Conan the last time you were there?
A strange incident that happened to me where I ended up chasing a cab and throwing my car keys at it because it had my cell phone in it.
So then you lost both things?
No, he stopped. I
you wanted him to hear?
Yeah, I was chasing him. It's a really crazy story. I was chasing this cab in downtown LA because I had forgotten my phone there in the back seat.
Isn't that weird? You really feel like most of your identity.
Oh yeah, I
is
needed
in
it,
the car,
especially for that evening, for the things that I was about to go and meet up with a friend that evening, and it would have just thrown the whole thing. So I really luckily got it.
Yeah.
But you don't get into deep psychological stuff. Although Conan, the few times I've gone on that show, which is maybe 3.
Yeah.
Each time I've gone, he's said something really personal to me, in the
between?
break.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice that he does that.
Oh no, there's a lot going on there, man.
Yeah, and he doesn't hide it.
No, he's very, he's very out there.
Yeah.
Like he'll lean in and be like, how you
exactly,
doing?
Yeah. And give you the real stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when he was about to come out to LA, I did an interview in his old studio.
Yeah.
And in the commercial break, he was like, so how you doing? I was like, good, how about you? He was like, I'm terrified. I'm about to leave this studio. I've been here for over 15 years. I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, it's all different. It's changing. I don't know what's going on.
And all of a sudden the cameras come back on. We're back with Michael Cera.
It was amazing.
So you're sitting there like, oh my God.
Yeah. It made me like him so much more.
No, he's great.
Yeah.
Did you tell a story about getting lost on a hike or something? Where was that?
Yeah,
was
I told that on Letterman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you saw that?
I read about it.
Oh, you read about it?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I came very close to being in a very ugly situation in Colorado.
What did you
stuck up on a mountain? Yeah, I was up there with friends, and the sun went down. We were just enjoying it so much. The sun was going down, and then it was dark, and we couldn't find our way back to the car. And we were walking around for just a few minutes. Do you know Armin Weitzman?
No.
He's an LA comic guy. He'd be a great interview for you, man.
Yeah, why don't I know him?
I think if you knew him, you'd probably have an appreciation for him.
I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, he's doing his own thing. He does a bit of stand-up and kind of hosts things at UCB, and he's a writer. I think he wrote on Sarah Silverman for a while.
I'm sure I've met him.
Yeah, and he's a fantastic guy. But so we were up there, and then we eventually were rescued by these hikers. And these guys saved us who were hiking in the night.
No, but you just go, how far away from the car were you?
Far. We were lost. Because we had tried finding it, and we had just gotten more lost.
You had no flashlight because you didn't prepare.
No, yeah, we were really stupid.
That's horrifying.
We were, all of a sudden, we were
How
those
many
guys.
people?
Just 3. And then when we got to our car, we were like,
Who led you to the car?
These guys that were illegally hiking in the night with headlamps, and they knew the mountains like the back of their hands, and they happened to come across us. I mean, it was totally miraculous that they found us.
You probably would have been all right, but you would have had to make it through the night.
I don't know, because when we got back to our car in the parking lot, we were like, just exhilarated, and we were just finally really able to admit to each other how scary it was, and we were just like,
Anyone
breathing.
cried?
No, but I mean, we were all close.
Yeah.
And there was this guy, there was a car in the parking lot with just a cigarette light.
Yeah.
That we could see burning.
Yeah.
And this guy is just listening to everything we're saying for like 5 minutes, not saying anything. And then he speaks out. He goes, "Hey, man, I have to tell you, I've lived here my whole life. You guys are really lucky. I've heard stories, man, about there are mountain lions out there. They'll get on you. They'll drag you off like a rag doll. And there's bears out there. I've seen it 100 times. Hikers getting lost out there. They get ripped apart by bears." And we were just like, our jaws are dropping. He's like, "I heard y'all talk. I just thought I'd spice it up a bit." It was just amazing. It could have been really bad.
Oh, God.
Really
who was
bad.
that guy?
Who was that guy? We never saw his face.
Yeah.
He was
just
amazing
a cigarette
guy.
light.
Yeah.
Like deep throat.
Great character.
By the way.
Yeah, go with Jesus.
Yeah.
Go with Jesus,
Did he
man.
say
He's
that?
with you tonight. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you say that on Letterman? Go with Jesus?
No, I think I
You took that
I
out?
omitted that just in case.
Yeah. Just in case. You don't want to put anyone in a position where they have to address Jesus.
You don't want to be all of a sudden saying Jesus on Letterman. I don't know. Who knows what could happen?
It's an understanding that everybody has.
Yeah.
Well, this was a great conversation. I felt that we did well.
Great.
Do you?
I'm glad you do. Yeah, I do for sure, but I'm glad that you feel that way.
Yeah, and the thing about therapy is what my point was, like it takes a while for someone to start seeing the triggers. Like, you've got your own way of hiding whatever,
Yeah, I guess so.
Whatever problem is in there.
Bob Weinstein, you know Bob Weinstein?
Not personally.
The Weinstein brother?
Sure.
He told me I was the most repressed person he's ever met. I don't know if it was some psychological game he was playing with me.
Well, he comes from this sort of aggressive Jew stock.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And, I feel that, you speak from somewhere in between your heart and mouth.
That's nice.
But I don't know if it's repression as much as it is vulnerability. So it's I think he might have, maybe he's right, maybe he's not, but you seem vulnerable. And
it was a dig, I think.
Yeah. I think sometimes people who have lived longer and fought for things, and had a lot of failure in their life, they have a really hard time with people that are okay.
Yeah, right.
Because there's part of you that's like, look at you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
There's gotta be something bad in there.
Right.
It's just short of...
Give it a few years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you date a stripper. You ever tried heroin? Oh, could someone get him some heroin? Yeah. No, you can avoid that stuff.
Yeah.
If you want.
Right.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
Thanks, man.
What a lovely young man that Michael Cera is. Am I right? I liked him a lot. I didn't know how it would go, and I thought it went excellent. I was happy to see him. Okay, what do we do now? We do the WTFpod.com. Maybe do a little of this. Pow! Look out! I just shit my pants. JustCoffee.coop, available at WTFpod.com. A lot of things available at WTFpod.com. You can check out my calendar, and please come down to the Ice House in Pasadena this Thursday, March 29th, for myself and Maria Bamford and Eddie Pepitone. That is some power psycho shit there. That show is a powerful exploration of our mental condition as a species. Tuesday night, live WTF at the formerly the Steve Allen Theater. That's the Tiffany Theater now. We got, who do we got? Ron Funches, got Retta, got Brent Weinbach, Roy Scovel, Eddie Pepitone, Jim Earl. I don't know if there are tickets for that. Coming up, I'm going to be in Denver. What is that? April 6th and something? Denver, Comedy Works. Where is that? April 6th and 7th? All right, la-di-da. Okay. Go make a donation, pick up an app, check the shit out, look at the episode guide, do what you need to do. I don't feel well. I just don't fucking... I can feel it in the back of my throat. I've been traveling too much.